day drinking. What happens when you work at 3 a.m.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Two Dumb Yinzers. This is episode 256. 256. How you doing today, Michael?
I am I'm flying high, baby.
I don't think I've ever done anything for 256 times in my life. I swear, anything.
There's a couple things, but I don't think we can talk about them on the channel that I've done 256 days in a row.
That will be on the paid channel if you.
That's on the paid channel coming up.
We got special guests back today. Our friend Derpy. How you doing this morning, Derp?
I am doing great, fellas. I am doing great.
My man,
Good.
my man.
It's March.
It is March.
Started getting a little bit warmer. 2 degrees. I
think it's
March Madness is returning.
It is.
And don't forget to get them Shamrock Shakes too.
Yes,
I like it.
My man knows what is up.
But I'm doing great this morning.
Good.
I picked up McDonald's the other day for me and the kid, and I walk in, all I see are like Shamrock Shakes everywhere. I'm like, I need to change my order. I need some Shammy Shakes.
Derp hit it right on the head, Mike. We do have some amazing weather today for the first day of March. I think it's going to be around 70 degrees here in Western Pennsylvania today. Great way to get the month started. There was some kind of crazy screwball thing they used to make us say when we were in school. In like a lamb, out like a camel toe. I don't know what it was, but there was something with
it might be a lion.
Lion, yeah. But it's nice out already. I don't know why I got the hoodie on, but it is going to be a really nice day. My couple of things before we do get started, I do want to say that Kennywood, everybody's I think everybody here is familiar with Kennywood. But Kennywood was yesterday named one of the top amusement parks in the United States of America, Kennywood. So there you have it. If you frequent Kennywood, you're frequenting one of the best amusement parks in the country.
Look at that, man. Western PA got a lot of things going for him, baby.
Absolutely. A couple of side sports notes before we get started. Messi, Mike, your boy Messi, he gets selected as Lionel Messi, I believe his name is.
Lionel Messi, FIFA player.
He gets selected as the
GOAT.
The GOAT, there you go. The FIFA Soccer Player of the Year. He gets another award, another trophy to add to his collection. And also, LeBron James is out indefinitely with a sore ankle. Mike, the team was
a sore ankle. He heard a pop, and he's in
the team was 4-1. They're heading back, working toward a playoff spot. He was averaging 15 points a game only since he broke the record. However, there was a out indefinitely, different reports. Some say sore, you say pop, but whatever it may be, LeBron is out indefinitely.
Yeah, he was laying there and holding it, and he's like, I heard a pop. And that's not good if you hear a pop.
And then one other real quick story, Mike. Did you guys hear this? This lady, she's getting sued. Now she's a fortune teller. And this guy who apparently got ran for about $10,000 from her is suing. In my opinion, that's kind of crazy because, isn't the man responsible for his own actions? And you know what I mean? I mean, these fortune tellers, I think you go to, I would hope that you go to them assuming that, knowing that it is a a form of entertainment. You're not going to these people to guide your life. However, this gentleman did, and this woman, Mike, is now being sued for over $10,000 because this guy apparently just kept throwing money at her.
That's on him, and she should have known she was going to be sued if she was able to see the future. That's all I'm going with.
Yeah. And if she can't, then maybe that should have been a sign for him.
That should have been a sign for him. And yeah, these people, come on, guys, it's entertainment. You should know that going into the fortune tellers.
Absolutely, unbelievable. But anyway, where the important things happen here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we do got sports to talk about today, everybody. Yes, sports.
Yes.
We're going to start with a big win, Mike. Big win last night, of course. The Penguins 3-0 since we've called for Ron Hextall's head. 3-0. We can't be stopped. We win an overtime game against the Blues. We pummel Tampa Bay, both of those games over the weekend. And then again last night, we played down in Nashville. Go down to get a 3-1 win over them. Mike, with Tampa Bay on deck tomorrow, You have to like this sudden turnaround, this rejuvenation.
It's Tampa Bay though.
It is Tampa Bay.
But we
Is
won.
it away or is it home?
It's at Tampa, but we just beat them 7-3.
Yes. So maybe we could beat them 3-1 this time.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take a win, even if they lose. But if they play well against them, that I will be okay with that. This team's starting to roll. They're starting to heat up, man. This is March. Historically, when the Penguins make a run, March is when they tend to put their shit together. They know this is where we need to start playing well. This is where they get back to playing Penguin hockey. Well, we kind of saw last night that the first opening faceoff, we're giving up odd man rushes. Immediately fall behind 1-0 on a bad defensive play, bad pinch. You can't do that, but they played the rest of the game well and won. So I think March, every time for me for the Penguins, I think March. That's when
March of the Penguins, baby.
March of the Penguins, not just March of the Penguins, but that's when they get it going, man.
Did the deadline happen yet? Sorry, did the deadline happen yet?
No, it did not happen yet. But
when's that?
What is the trade deadline?
Yeah,
good
Friday.
Question. Yes, thank you.
Friday, okay.
It is
Yeah.
Friday.
I do think I agree with Mike with they have to sell certain players and try to get some younger legs if they want to, try to compete, because they're slow.
We got some names, some potential names, some names that hit the waivers. We'll just get to that 1 second. Of course, for the dads game last night, all the dads were in town, so it's always a special thing. Sid's dad, everybody's dad was there having the time of their life. The game was close. It was 0-0 for the longest time. Crosby ends up breaking that. As far as the Penguins go, Zucker gets the game-winning goal, and Russ gets the empty net at the end of the game. In this win, Mike, it takes the Penguins to 30, 21-9, getting ready to, like you said, hit that stride as you're heading for the playoffs here in March. And you gotta like this little turnaround. And I've always said that this team's been streaky. I don't trust this just quite yet.
Yeah,
I want to see us get a few more wins. Maybe take a loss in the middle somewhere and then win a few more games in a row. Their streaks always scare me. I have a hard time getting on board until I know for sure with them guys. But Derby made a great point. If we are going to make a valiant effort, if we're going to make a run at this thing, if we're going to get into the playoffs and do any damage, if we're going to get into the playoffs and maybe win around, some things have to happen. And not only after we called for Hextall's head, the team started playing better, but the talks have started, obviously, with Kapanen over the last weekend, putting him on waivers, him getting claimed by the Blues. A couple names, Derp, that got thrown out there yesterday, that got thrown on the waivers were Brock McGinn and Mark Friedman. You could feel they're starting to shake it up, obviously, with the deadline coming on Friday. There's a few players also, Mike, that we have our eyes on. So not just guys being put on waivers, also potential trade targets is Coriopolis native JT Miller from the Canucks. He had 99 points last season. And help me with this guy's name again, Mike, the defenseman from Arizona, Jakob.
Oh God.
CHY.
Oh God, yeah. You're asking the wrong guy right now. Chychrun.
Yeah. Because I know you're so good with foreign names.
I'm very good with those, North, South, Eastern European names.
Yeah. But yes, we do. There things are in motion. It's midweek. It's hump day. We're getting to Friday. It's going to be here before you know it. So if there are any splashes, be expecting them within the next 48 to 50 hours, give or take. Got guys on the waivers. We'll see if anybody else pops up on the waivers. Yeah. But I do know that the strong name that I keep seeing popping up is JT Miller, Mike.
I would not be opposed to having JT Miller and he's one of the guys they've been always trying to get him, not just because he's from the area.
Right.
Like you said, 99 points last year.
Right.
He's a really, really good player. And my God, if you can add him to this team, I would take him in a heartbeat. Normally, you're thinking, oh, who we're going to add? Yeah, let's get JT Miller. Yeah, he's a little older. He's 29 years old.
That's still good.
That's still good. Yeah. And
he's right in his still prime, technically.
Still in his prime. And, my God, he's still putting up numbers. I would gladly take him. I think it was 20 goals this year. Yeah. 20 goals, 34 assists. I think he would slide right in. He's a center. and
Yes.
plop him down on the third line. You move Jeff Carter down to the fourth line, or if you have to, guess what, Jeff Carter, you're sitting up in the press box, buddy. It is what it is, but I would not be opposed to having JT Miller back. I would not be opposed to getting Jakob Chychrun. Yeah, Jacob.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce his name. I would not be opposed to getting either of them if they can work out salaries to make it work. I would love to see it happen. But we are going to have to give up players to get these guys. We're going to have to give up draft capital to get these guys, and I'm not opposed to that. We're
at this point, I'm
now.
not opposed because they're getting up there.
Yeah, you have to win. You have to compete, and even if you get these guys and you don't win this year, guess what? If you have them for next year, okay, you've laid the foundation. You're for next year, and still trim some more fat, bring in other players. You have to maximize Crosby, Malcolm, and Letang's last 3 years here. You have to do it, and if it's giving up draft picks, give up draft picks because we don't need them. We're in win now, boys, and you have to win now.
Yes, and they're obviously somebody's sticking a light underneath Ron Hextall's ass. The guy didn't move an inch for the first half of the season. Now he the talks are heating up for trade rumors, situations, things like that, and that kind of carries it over, Mike. I mean, don't be surprised if there is a big trade, because you see around the league there was a huge blockbuster trade yesterday.
Rangers, right?
Yes, landing Patrick Kane in New York with the Rangers. I don't know all the details to this trade. If you guys have that information, that would be great.
See, the Rangers are going to be dangerous.
Yeah,
they were dangerous last year, but they're going to be really dangerous adding that piece because they're young.
Yeah, and he only cost what I think a conditional round second that has a potential becoming a first and another draft pick, which is wild for this Patrick Kane is what 3-time Cup winner, future Hall of Famer. And he's still playing all right, and they didn't have to give up a whole lot to get him. And like Derby said, that Rangers team, man, they are young.
Yes, watch out for New York. They're very confident about this team up
there.
With
the Penguins, they've always gotten, like the last few years, they've always lost to speed.
Yeah.
With the younger guys. The younger guys have always beaten them when they got back to the other side of the ice with their speed.
And obviously, that's huge. You get into the playoffs, the game speeds up.
Yeah.
And once the game speeds up, you get, some of these legs that aren't exactly young anymore that, that's where, like Derpy had said, we're certainly losing that battle. But,
yeah, like the rest of the league in the past 5 years caught up to where the Penguins were.
Right.
That's what helped them win back to back because they were so fast. And at that time, those teams were still like the big bruising teams of we need to be physical in the playoffs. And the Penguins like, we're just going to outskate you. You can't hit what you can't catch. Now the rest of the league has gone into more speed, but also adding size too that can skate. And I'm looking at now, there's a second round pick this year that can become a first in 2024, 2025 if the Rangers make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay.
So a second round pick in this year's draft and then a fourth rounder in 2025. That's not a bad haul for to bring in a former Stanley Cup champion to help with a younger team. It brings into mind when the Penguins were bringing in people like Billy Guerin, people who have been there, done that, who have that experience to help the younger people. And that's what you need. That nice veteran.
Mike, that, these guys like a Patrick Kane, for example, we here in Pittsburgh, we hold the our Crosby, Malkin, and Letang, we put them on this pedestal. And we just assume that they are the best players ever because they're our players.
Yeah.
However, to somebody else in the league, getting a Patrick Kane, Mike, I think that's the equivalent of picking up a Malkin or a Letang.
Yeah.
Because we feel that if you're getting one of our three, you're getting, something sent from the gods above.
Yeah.
But being from around the league and being from another team, pulling Patrick Kane could be that equivalent, Mike. It could be because, like you said, he won 3 Stanley Cups. He's done amazing.
Two Stanley Cups.
Amazing
2 Chicago. Yeah,
he's had an amazing career. I mean, he, how old did you say he is? 30 years old.
Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
Oh God. I don't know how old he is. I know he's
Okay.
up. He's getting up there.
He's getting up, but still, like I said, even if you were, to pull one of these guys from Pittsburgh,
He's 34.
34.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's old. That's old in hockey.
But again, it would be something I would think that people around the league would see as an equivalent of grabbing a Malkin or a Letang for sure.
Yeah. He's 45 points this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
45 points in 54 games. He had 92 last year. So he's getting old, but he's still producing.
Yeah.
2021, he played 56 games, 66 points. He's still racking up the points. And that Chicago team, and I felt what's going to happen to the Penguins. You age out and the team gets bad, and he's been on bad teams, but he's still producing.
Right.
And I think that's a huge pickup. And this is going to help them.
And then once we start to see Chicago become that team again, then we're going to go, well, gee, maybe we should start dealing our older guys to pull in younger talent who's could be quicker in the playoffs and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Which, just may be the case because, again, we hold so dear our major players in all of our sports. It's not just hockey.
Yeah.
What say you, Dirk? Do you have anything? We're getting ready to switch over. We're going to go make a switch up. Any other thoughts on the hockey before we go?
I do think that Penguins need a guy that can obviously have speed, but can finish.
Yeah.
Off maybe like missed shots or like you know what I mean, like
kind of
rebounds or something.
Yeah, like that feel that kind of Patrick Hornquist role.
Yes.
It was so valuable, in getting in those lucky rebounds. Didn't he had the cup winner against Nashville? Was a bang bang play, if I remember correctly.
It was.
Yeah. So you need that big body up front, and we really don't have that.
Goal one of a 2-0 win.
Yep. And then he was Hagelin got the other.
Was it Hags or Rust?
I think it was Hags.
Okay. But so Mike, you think that let's say we do make a couple of these trades. Say we do bring in a JT Miller. Say we do.
Yeah.
I mean, does that put us in a better position once we hit, or do you think that we're probably maybe 2 or 3 spots from being a team that's able to advance a couple of rounds in the playoffs?
I think you make those trades, you upgrade the roster, and if they start playing smarter, I can see them finally making it out of the first round. Does this make them a Stanley Cup contender? No.
Right.
But it makes them a team that could upset someone in the first round.
We got to get out of the first round of any playoffs, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is in Pittsburgh at this point. I beat the guy over there. I don't care what you do, but get out of the first round for.
Yeah, I think this will, it will give us a chance against Boston. Give us a chance against the Hurricanes.
Okay. We're going to bounce. We're going to dribble over to some Pitt Panther news, Mike. Tonight is the big game. This game is huge. You want me to tell you how huge this game is? I think you have an idea, but check this out. If Pitt beats Notre Dame tonight in South Bend, they will be the first school since 2001, 2002 to win football and basketball regular season conference titles within consecutive school years in the ACC. The last team to do it was Maryland in 01 and 02. So here we are in 22-23. We could do it with Pitt's football team winning the ACC last season. Not just this past season, of course, but last season. And this basketball team has the opportunity with the win tonight. Mike, they do win the conference. However, the game on Saturday decides if they share it with Miami or not. So this game tonight is the game. If they win, they win. That's the bottom line. They win the ACC conference. And Notre Dame is pretty bad, 2-16, I do believe. However, you're in South Bend, it's there, but this team, Mike, and one more interesting note. I don't have it verbatim, so don't quote me on this. But the coach, it almost seems like the Notre Dame coach. I seen an interview. It seems like he is a Pitt fan. As crazy as this sounds. I'm not going to sit here and go on and on about how good this team is. I'm not going to go on and on about their chances to win the ACC. I'm not going to go on and on. He says, as a matter of fact, he invited the Pitt basketball team to some event up there. I don't know what it is. You could look into it for yourself. I did see that this Notre Dame coach is a Pitt fan, and I think that he's kind of pulling for this Pitt team to win the conference. I don't know. It's crazy to me. I don't understand the elements here. But
you said Notre Dame's 2-16, right?
In the conference,
something like that.
In the conference, yeah.
See that right there kind of should make you guys nervous to a degree because you don't want to be cocky because that's how upsets are made.
I thought of that the other day, and then I watched Notre Dame. They played the other night, and I
know, but Notre Dame, regardless, is Notre Dame, my friend.
They
how they are.
They played somebody that was poor, and I can't think who it was off the top of my head. It was somebody at the bottom of the conference. In this team, they didn't score. Notre Dame didn't score for like over 9 minutes at one point. And I thought,
goodness.
It was real bad. Take my word on this one. I'm not a gambling man. However, if I was, this was one I'd want some action on because, like I said, they went over 9 minutes. They didn't score a basket. Pitt's really fast paced. You know what? I don't disagree with you. Don't get me wrong. I understand that point, and I take it and I appreciate it. However, I think that Pitt has this, and if they don't win this game, they do have an opportunity against Saturday against Miami, which will be a lot tougher. But the Pitt Panthers, and like I said, there's this weird feeling in the air from this interview I seen, Derp, from this Notre Dame coach. It doesn't seem like he is all about upsetting Pitt. Like I said, he invited the basketball team to this event that they had going on up there. I think Notre Dame's almost ready for the season to be over, to be honest with you. So if we go into South Bend tonight at 7:00 and get this win,
or
what's that?
Is that an ESPN or a national cover game?
It's probably, I think I didn't check into it that far, Dirt, but I believe it's probably the ACC network.
Okay.
A lot of times that's where they throw Pitt. But they do have the chance to win the ACC conference tonight, and then again they do play a game against Miami, who's sitting idle till Saturday to finish up their season against Pitt down there, and they will see if they get to share that with us or if it is going to be ours. But tonight could be the night, guys. Pitt can win the ACC.
My only thing is, this is Pitt. Yes, Notre Dame sucks, but what happens to our teams? The Steelers, the Penguins, the Pirates, Pitt Panthers, Penn State, Nittany Lions. When they should beat someone, what always happens?
They lose every time.
They lose
every time. It doesn't matter.
I'm not trying to be negative.
That's
I'm not
why
trying to bring it down.
Like, you can't be cocky. You gotta.
Yeah. I'm going to be the cocky one. I'm going to let them guys focus, but I'm going to still continue to be cocky because I'm going to make a prediction. Again, I don't gamble, but I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to say we win this game. I'm going to say we win it pretty handedly as well, maybe by 20 points.
I could see that.
We're starting to slide over to the football talk, Mike, but I do want to real quick before we get in the Steeler mode. At the combine, there are going to be six players from Pitt. Defensive lineman Cansey.
Mm-hmm. That's who I've been looking at for Steelers.
Yeah. Some of these names.
If he falls down, I would take
even the running back.
Abanikanda, the running back.
If he falls to the fourth round and is sitting there, I would love him.
Warren, the offensive lineman. Baldonado, the defensive lineman. Dennis, a linebacker, and DB Hill. Yes, these guys, Mike, keep an eye on them because they've been doing some pretty special things with this football program. So these guys are very talented. Obviously, a name that got away from us, but we still have a lot of love for would be Jordan Addison coming out of USC. I don't know if he is he participating in the.
I know he got the invite. I'd assume he's going to be up there working out because he's up. Most boards have him 2, 3, some 1. So trying to get that separation.
Yeah.
To be the number one receiver. I think a lot of the receivers are going to be participating.
Okay.
I know everyone wants a tackle, but at 17, I want Addison. I'm sorry.
I do not want
because
Addison.
it'll make Pickett happy for a long-term run.
You know what will make Pickett happy? Throwing more touchdowns than interceptions to the guys that are on the team. I want a dominant left tackle. I want a dominant left tackle that can shore up this line and this quarterback.
It's Harrison then.
Pitt is going to be just fine. Let me throw at you a name as well.
I like that name. I like that name.
And Derby. Let me throw this one at you. Tackle from Tampa Bay. Donovan Smith, who's about to be released real soon.
How old is he?
State. He's a Penn State product, Mike. Look him up real quick. This is a name that I came by just before I came on the air today. Donovan Smith, Tampa Bay, Penn State. I don't know if he's a left. I don't know what he is, but this is a tackle that I did see.
PFF grade of 58.1.
That's not
See,
good.
this is my case,
That's
but
not good.
I just don't want to tackle because we were young.
Right.
We were young at the line. Most of them were young. They were still learning. They're under, obviously, the age of 20. Most of them are under the age of 27.
Right.
And they got better as the season went on. I just think if you're gonna, I think we should just wait one more year.
Like there's better tackles in this draft than Dan Moore
I know
Jr.
I know there's. I meant
there's better
17.
tackles at 17 if you can get a Broderick Jones, a Peter Skronsky.
The only guy I'm looking at is Harrison from Oklahoma.
Yeah, Anton Harrison. If any of those guys are there, I am taking them and I'm moving Chooks over to right, or keeping Chooks at right, kicking Dan Moore to be a swing tackle to play either side, and I'm plugging in my left tackle right there. And
I do think the other two centers that we look at is probably the guy from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Smoltz, and then Michigan.
Yeah,
center from Michigan.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind taking one of those centers, or I wouldn't even be opposed to trading back, taking the guard, kicking and then that's gonna help with your center position. You'll have two dominant guards. You won't have to worry about that. And then at 32, if one of the tackles falls there, grab him there. Offensive line. This team has wasted so many picks on skill position players in the first 2-3 rounds. You know, we messed up by taking Freiermuth over Creed Humphreys, setting this line back. We know in Pittsburgh, we know how important centers are, but yet
there's another guy I've been wanting actually is if Edmonds is to walk, there's another guy, Branch.
Yeah, you did bring
from Alabama.
Branch. Alabama.
Yeah. That's another guy. I don't know if he slips to 32. I'm praying he slips to 32 if we take a left tackle, because him and Mika,
oh God,
will be dangerous.
Yeah, I would take that. There's so many people available, and it's Brian Branch. He's only 21. You have him and Minka back there, but if they are able to bring Edmonds back, bring him back on the cheap, we don't have to worry about safety until later in the draft.
Is that what we're going to target with our first pick? You know what I mean? We do have some big holes to fill.
I want linemen, I want offensive linemen, I want defensive linemen, and I want cornerbacks.
Yeah, I mean those are dire needs.
Yeah, corner, I think you can get in the second round, third round. Tackle, you have to get him in the first round.
Right.
Receivers, you can find
get that guy.
Receivers, you can find third, fourth round. The Steelers have shown you they can find receivers anywhere in the draft. That's why I really don't want to take Addison, because Steelers have shown they really can't get a tackle. They haven't invested a first round draft pick on alignment since David DeCastro.
I do want to cut away to the message board real quick. I am seeing what Mike and P are talking about. Mike, didn't you have an incident where you were going in reverse? You were backing up in your car and you pulled a muscle in your arm or neck or shoulder last year? I don't recall what it was, but I remember there was some kind of crazy.
It was in my neck. It was my neck. I was backing up and I turned. I have a backup camera. So yeah. I don't know why I turned. I turned and I hurt my neck and my back all in the same motion.
So there you have it.
So Derp, stay young.
Derp, stay young, because if you get old like
don't
Mike,
get old.
Once you get old like
this
Mike,
is what
then you have all these
happens.
problems.
This is what happens. But no, like I don't know. I'm still that guy that thinks the games are won and lost in the trenches on the O line and D line, because it frees up so much. And I know everyone wants Addison because they think it's going to be like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, but I'm sorry.
Here's my thing, Mike.
Those two are elite, and Addison is not the receiver Jamar Chase is, and I'm sorry, Kenny Pickett is nowhere near the quarterback.
Jordan Addison a lot, but here's my point.
No, I don't. He's a former Biletnikoff winner. Dude's a stud.
Absolutely.
But I don't want him. I don't want him.
And he goes to USC and is the best, gets the most receptions out there. But the thing about Jordan Addison, Mike, I think a lot of people, having them and Kenny is almost like the icing on the cake. I think having a receiver like Jordan Addison is just, I mean, the kid is really, really good receiver. And like you said, he did win a Biletnikoff as a junior, or 2 seasons ago. I think that anybody that lands Jordan Addison is going to be a very happy team for a long time. And like I said, I think that, of course, the Pittsburgh, which, the where you usually come in and bring the reign of the parade, I think it's just more of a cherry on the top. And people were like, oh, Kenny's going to be this much better. And this, I don't think that that's the case. I think that if you can land Jordan Addison, no matter who you are, you're going to get yourself one of the top receivers for a long time in this league.
If Jordan Addison didn't go to Pitt, would people be banging down the door for Jordan Addison?
The people that I just spoke of with the cherry and cream on top, those people would not be. However, everybody else that knows college football and sees what this guy done, and with a quarterback that you feel is inferior, was able to still have the numbers that he put up. You really have to look into what Jordan Addison is and what he does and what he brings to a team, Mike. I think that I don't think that we land him because that is not one of our top priorities. Again, we're looking for offensive linemen, we're looking for cornerbacks, and we won't land Jordan Addison because somebody will take him in the meantime. But whoever takes this guy, are you going to get a Jamar? I don't know what you're going to get. Come on. But you're going to get yourself a great receiver who's going to be a very valuable asset to your football team for a long time. And I think that it's almost impossible that we land Jordan Addison.
Like I'm not saying the dude's a bum. I'm saying, yeah, he is one of the best receivers in the draft. But like this Steeler team has so many more pressing needs than another wide receiver. There's so many pressing needs.
We get that receiver later. That comes later.
Yeah.
That's how the Pittsburgh Steelers draft. I don't know what Omar Khan's going to do, but here's my thing.
Yeah.
I think, excuse me, you get your offensive lineman.
Oh,
you get your first round offensive lineman. That's your first pick. Then you get, then you're looking at your corners in your second, because here we are, we're back up at number 40. What is it? 47. 32.
32. And then we pick again at like 49.
What's our first pick? 32?
17.
Yeah. Okay.
17, 32, 49.
So you get your offensive lineman 17, you get your cornerback 32, and then you see where you're sitting at 47. And you like I said, take a look around your team, see what you're working with, see what you're looking for. I mean, at this point, maybe, just maybe, they have an idea what they're going to do with Terrell. And they are in my notes, Mike, right now working on negotiations for Cam Sutton's contract.
Sutton is the only guy I'm concerned about, Sutton.
Oh, Mark Khan comes out yesterday. Of course,
I want him back.
Khan says
because a lot of teams are targeting him hard.
Yep. Absolutely. Khan says we think very highly of Cam, end quote. And this is somebody that will be a Steeler this year. I think that we're going to make sure he's a Steeler next year. We're going to, in those, maybe that second round, get the guy opposite side of him. Our secondary is going to be beasty. No two ways about it. And you got to have a decent secondary.
I do have names that should target, though, if we can get into that in a minute. But continue.
No, what was that? I'm sorry.
I said I do have some names we should target.
Please.
But so obviously how much I want Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you are a Brissett guy.
Yes. Here's another. We should probably go get Dupree. Isn't he a free agent?
Yeah, he was just released, and
if I could get him for a Snickers bar and $5 crispy $5 bill, I'd take him.
He might take the league minimum to come back and be a situational pass rusher.
Let me say it real quick. I think with Bud Dupree, I think you could have success the same way you had success with him last time, in the same way that Alex Highsmith is having the success he has. Once TJ Watt gets hurt, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's a possibility, that other linebacker loses a lot of value. And if you go back through the season and you look at the numbers, the games where TJ Watt was out, that position struggled. However, he still had an all-pro season, put up decent numbers without TJ. But once you take the TJ Watt effect away, I don't care if it's Alex Highsmith, I don't care if it's Bud Dupree, I don't care if it's, that position loses value real fast as far as your team goes. Do you agree? Do you agree with that, Derpy? Do you think that Bud Dupree, not only coming back as a backup at this point, but do you think Bud Dupree could come here and have the kind of numbers that he had prior to going to Tennessee, prior to getting the big contract, and prior to the last two seasons that were less than stellar?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
If they re-sign what's his name? Ogunjobi, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Ogunjobi.
I think he's been a fantastic, add for the line.
I agree 100%.
I think I was gonna say,
but
like with
he could probably Bud. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
But I do think if Bud Dupree came back, they'd probably have a better impact than Ogunjobi.
I think he'd be good for depth.
Like maybe like a slight better impact because he when they're healthy, when Bud Dupree and with TJ1, when they were healthy, they were dominant.
Yes.
And yeah. You cannot deny that they were dominant together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there was no better pass rush duo than those two when they were both healthy the last 2 years together. Like I think, if they can sign him on the cheap, maybe not, maybe a little bit more than the league minimum, whatever he want, give him a decent pay.
That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe trade Deontay.
I don't think they're going to trade Deontay. I think they're going to do what they always do is reach out to these guys who just signed contracts to restructure. It wouldn't surprise me if they restructure they restructure Cam, maybe add an extra year to Cam, push back cap space for a year, eat his dead cap at the end of his career to make room. There's ways this team can free up a lot of money. And one of them is by cutting the cornerback they got from Washington, William Jackson. Yeah, if they cut him, that's like what, $14 million, I think, immediately off the books or whatever he makes. Is a huge chunk. Cut Mitch, that's a huge chunk. Restructure these guys. They could free up to like $45 million potentially.
There's another free agent that is kind of, at the end. He's been on the Jets, I believe, this recent year. He's I'm talking a linebacker, Alexander. Quan Alexander.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he could be like the starter because obviously he has injuries, but if we drop the linebacker and with the young linebackers that we have, he could probably be a good vet to teach him.
Let me ask you this: a lot of these guys we're mentioning would be nice for depth. Let me ask you this. Say you got your outsides, you got Watt, you got Highsmith, and then you keep Jack around, Miles Jack. Who would you guys find to be an ideal partner next to Jack on the inside linebacker position? I mean, we know there's been a lot of names that popped up. Obviously, your Bobby Wagner, obviously your Tremaine Edmonds, the guy from Philadelphia. Who would be your ideal inside to line up next to Miles Jack to complete the Watt, Highsmith, Jack linebacking core as far as your starters go? Do you guys have somebody that you ideally would just love to have?
He's a rookie coming in this draft.
Yeah, me too. I was just pulling him up. I was going to say Jack Campbell out of Iowa.
That guy. Yep. 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would not mind taking him at all. He's young. Only 22 years old. I would not.
I'm in Ohio. You know where I'm from, so I'm an Ohio State guy to a degree. And when he played Ohio State, he was everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, I would not mind taking him at all. If they can get him, that would be huge.
Never a bad idea getting your linebackers from the Big Ten,
And he 6'5", 246. So he's not. You're not gonna have to worry about him being bowled over by these linemen. He should be strong enough to fight them.
Yeah.
Off. He's
which was a problem.
Best you could probably get him is probably 49. He's not going to be there in the third. I can guarantee that.
Yeah. He's not going to.
Or even 32. He's going to be early.
Yeah. I'm reading one of the draft profiles on him real quick. Like what can he improve working downhill? Not the type of linebacker who shoot through a gap and make a tackle for the loss. He's always waiting for the running back to come to him. That's not the worst knock in the world, but NFL running backs are bigger and stronger. That's something that can be taught. Just go see the guy with the ball, go hit the guy with the ball. You're a middle linebacker in the 3-4. Your job is to find the guy with the ball and hit him. But that big of a frame, he should be able to just fill that gap. Even if it's
I want a guy
through for loss, but boom, sit in there and take the hit. That's the guy I want as my middle linebacker next to our guy Miles Jack. Thank you. I almost forgot his name.
I want a linebacker that can
cover a tight end.
Presence in tight end. Yes.
Someone who can cover a tight end. My boss and I, we were talking about that at work. We're like, we need a tight end a middle linebacker who can cover a tight end, but we're also saying you need someone who can actually come up and help
And I
stop
thought
the run
Jack
too.
could be that Miles Jack could be that guy, have a presence in the middle of the field. But
I think Miles Jack was. I mean, don't get me wrong, Miles Jack had a pretty good season. People don't realize that he led the team in tackles, and but you have Devin Bush, who I thought performed a little bit under what we wanted from him. Of course,
oh god, yeah.
You get a guy next to him, like the young gentleman you're talking about. I can see Miles Jack game improving, and you have a guy next to you. You have to make the adjustments. You have to help Devin Bush out with his tackles. You have to, so like I said, you take that element out of it and you get a guy in there that's well ahead of his years, apparently.
Yeah.
I think that by default helps Miles Jack's performance overall. And like I said, he didn't have a bad year. He didn't have this crazy, amazing season where people were constantly talking about him, but it by far was not a bad season.
It was not a bad season. What I want to return to, if we're going to keep running the 3-4, I want the return of that defensive line that actually does their job of eating up the 5 offensive linemen, so our middle linebackers are free to run downhill, free to just meet a running back 1-on-1 in the hole, where they're not having to fight off guards, not having to fight off centers. I want the front 3 to be, space eaters. So maybe at 32, if you're not going to go, if you go lineman 1 and offensive lineman 1 or corner 1, maybe take a look at Saika Ika at 32, the big mountain of a man out of Washington.
He could be the guy that replaced Hayward. I've seen him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to putting him, start him out in the nose and then move him out to the outside, because he flashed some pass rush ability, but let him be that space eater in the middle for the next couple of years.
Alualu's gone, right, Mike? We're not.
He's probably going to retire. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, his ankle's done. I think he's done.
We got to get Derek Watt though back.
Yeah, he's Watt. No, we need to move on from Derek Watt. We need to find
why.
He's a bum. He's a bum. We don't use him. He talk about like someone who should.
There's the guy from North Dakota State.
And the Steelers really don't use a fullback that much, and all he does is play special teams. So we're paying $2 million a year for a special teamer. No, get this guy out of here and get someone better. And I know, not just because he's a Watt, well, just because he's overpaid.
Mike has these little things about him that set him off, and that be one of them.
Anyone named Watt,
he doesn't like the family nature of the Watt situation.
I like Connor Haywood. I like TJ Watt. TJ Watt, even though he's too injury prone, it annoys me.
The thing was about Derek, he didn't do anything that turned me from him. I thought he was productive when called on.
He was brought in as
necessary yards whenever he was called to carry the ball. He was. There was nothing.
He was supposed to be the special team ace, like we seen Matt Slater up in New England be a special teams demon for like 95 years. That's what Derek Watt was supposed to be, and he was a glorified, trophy to keep his brother in town.
I think that we all have our own opinions on that, but let me.
I think he's overpaid. He's overpaid. People want to say we're overpaying for Trubisky. We're overpaying for a fullback that we never use. That makes four special teams tackles.
He came invaluable in a couple games, Mike, where he did.
Anyone could have done that. Any fullback,
but everyone didn't. It was him that did do it.
Yeah, because he's the only guy we had there at that point.
Absolutely not. We had plenty of people, but here's the thing: he was able to convert two right off the top of my head first downs that kept us in position to win football games at the end of the season. But Derek Watt is definitely not the topic today, guys. I do have another NFL situation that I do want to talk about with you guys. The NFL competition committee is considering making roughing the passer call something which could be reviewable. What do you guys think of this?
Yes. Please, and they need to change the rule, because you see guys barely get bumped and it's a 15-yard penalty.
How many times
you see
the
quarterback's drived into the ground. It's like, exactly.
Well, I'm sorry, what was
Derpy said it bailed out Brady a bunch of times.
Oh, his whole career.
Like, look at Cam Newton and Ben. The punishment that they took, that refs go, you're big guys, you can deal with it.
Yeah.
Whereas Colin Brady, Aaron
championship too this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Some of those calls were like, really, you're going to call that? And the other ones were like, how is that not roughing the passer? And you're going to let that happen.
Yes.
Like, there's even quarterbacks that they see the flag and they talk to the lineman or guy who hit him like, what the hell? That's not it. Even the quarterbacks are going, this is kind of a joke.
Right. I think it's a great idea. And I think, you know what? There's some things, even though they are the big dogs, some things that they can learn from little tiny XFL, because the XFL, there are changes in the rules and the way that you can review anything. They have that one review, blah, blah, blah. I think that things like this could eventually come into, the NFL could take advantage of using things because like this particular situation, here's the thing. You go on about protecting your players. You make them put these big pillows over their heads for camp and practice. why we're not able to review these calls by for roughing the passer? I think here's the thing. On one hand, you're going to say, oh, these quarterbacks, you protect them too much, and on the other hand, you say, well, we got to protect the players more. What do we do? I mean, you're going to get both. You hear both sides of the argument. I say make the roughing the passer reviewable, protect your quarterbacks. Thing is, we're talking about protecting everybody. They're the only position where you're allowed to, the guy standing there, not even thinking about you, and you could run full speed and slam into his backside, into his back, into his head, whatever, as hard as you can. And if you do it just the right second, so that you got to protect these guys. It has to be more than a judgment call made at the time. It has to be reviewable, not just for the game alone, but for the safety of the players.
Like Terry Bradshaw said, put a skirt on him.
Terry, where's the wisdom
today?
What's that, man?
I said put a skirt on most of them today.
Yeah,
a lot of them, because they're big babies, man. You like when Ben got his nose broken by Halati Nada. Like he did, they did
his nose on the side of his head.
Yeah, and
come back and beat that team.
Yeah, they told him it. Like apparently, like Doc Bradley was like, Ben, don't worry, it's not that bad. And Ben finally saw it, goes, ew, not that bad. Why are you having to readjust my nose if it's not that bad?
You guys remember that when they readjusted his nose on the sideline?
Yeah. I love it. Like they brought out the telestrator and they were drawing the curve and shit. Yes, that shit was great.
So you
quarterbacks
guys
nowadays will be crying.
I do have two other guys though for the receivers though. If we want an option, a receiver.
Yeah, go ahead.
If we keep Deontay.
I think we're ultimately going to keep Deontay. But
because we really don't know in the Austin situation, the Calvin Austin situation. We're obviously going to let go of Sims probably.
Yeah, I think so.
I did the two guys that may be cheap that I would looking at is Paris Campbell.
Yeah. Or
Noah Brown from Dallas.
Okay.
Ooh.
He's not like your flashy receiver thing, downfield.
Dallas might be looking to move a receiver, especially if they bring in
a
Mike Evans or somebody like that. They'll be looking to move one of their less receivers.
He was at Ohio State. Yeah, he played. Yeah, I want to be
Noah Brown guy. Is like a dirty grit guy. He's not like a flashy, speed route runner.
6'2",
he gets you your yards though.
Yeah, and that's the kind of guy you need on this team. We really have no one that's that dirty guy to go across the middle. Like Juju was that guy. He wasn't big and flashy out on the field, but he was not afraid to go across the middle. No, I don't want Deontay going across the middle, and I don't want Pickens going across the middle. I don't want those two taking unnecessary shots. And if you add someone like that along with Freiermuth going across the middle, that opens up a ton of the field for the other two receivers.
See, I think Sims really picked it up last year. I think that, if we don't move anybody, I would be fine with Sims. We're all going to hope that Calvin Austin III becomes something great, of course. And
I think he could be a Hill, but we really don't know at this point.
You're right. And even if he's not Hill, but he's something similar to that, and we could use him in that way.
Yeah, with the speed.
I would be fine with that. And I would be fine with Sims taking shots over the middle. But I don't know. I mean, everybody has the same opinion of Deontay in this town, and I think at the end of the day, we're gonna keep Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would like to move him to get the draft capital, but my God, like before this year, he was putting up pretty good numbers. So you hope this year was just an anomaly in that he bounces back.
Did he always?
I will say this about Deontay though: if he underperforms, you got to get rid of him.
Let me ask you this:
by the deadline, potentially.
I don't recall because I'm not that smart of a guy. but can you guys please refresh my memory? Did he have this issue where he ran backwards prior to this year, or did this just kind of all of a sudden come about? Did he?
Yeah, it was like towards the end of last year.
Really?
Halfway point, he started doing that stuff.
Because it was really obvious this year. Yeah. People really started getting on him. I don't remember.
It wasn't all the time thing, but he would do it to try and make space.
Right. Which every once in a while is not, that's fine.
Yeah, but like it's gotten worse over time.
Yes, it was real bad. It was real bad.
But like you're saying, if they don't trade him this offseason and he's struggling in the midpoint of the year, they're gonna have to look to move him, or at the end of next year, cut him like the Giants did Kenny Golladay.
Either that or send him to somewhere like Chicago and get a nice pick out of him, because
exactly. Omar Khan right now, he's the evil genius of the NFL.
He is the evil genius. He's like, I love it. He's like what's the guy that Derp has as his avatar? Dexter Laboratory.
Yeah, that's Dexter.
Yes, that's what Omar Khan reminds me of.
The freaking lightsaber.
Yes. I thought that was a lightsaber. I like it.
But yes, I mean, if we could, we could dupe somebody like we did with Chase Claypool.
We 100% dupe Chicago.
That shit was great.
They got to be kicking themselves. Come on.
They are stupid if they move on from Fields, though.
Yeah,
they even consider drafting a quarterback too.
They're talking about it.
I know. They literally do nothing
GM
right.
Said they're open to everything. This is why teams that continually recycle young quarterbacks. This is why you keep failing. Like Field actually showed promise last year. You opened up the playbook. You let him play the way Justin Fields played in college, and look what happened. Things started to happen. He started to make plays. Did they win a lot of games? No, but he was not the reason why they lost games. The kid's showing he is a gamer and can play in the NFL, but yet they're going to kick him out. There's a new shiny toy. Toy. Let's go get that.
Let me ask you guys real quick. What do you guys think what do you make of Chase Claypool's second season in Chicago? Obviously, he didn't do real great. His numbers weren't fantastic from the point when they traded him to the end of the season. Do you see Chase Claypool becoming a part of making that team better, or do you see him continue basically doing a lot more of the same and maybe just eventually dissipating like he did last year?
The casual Notre Dame prospect.
I think Claypool is going to be a bust.
You think he's a bust?
I think he's a bust. He hasn't shown any improvement. He had 7 good games in the NFL, then he's fallen off.
Yeah, and it was the first 7, and he did amazing. And we thought, man,
I thought we got one. We got one. No.
Yeah. Sky was the limit with this guy.
It was.
And then he just decided he wasn't going to. He lost his heart. There was no heart, Mike.
He actually lost that game against the Jets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he dropped it many times, and then obviously people blame it against Pickett, which it wasn't really his fault.
You know what?
In that game, it was the interceptions.
We win that game against the Jets. We're in the playoffs. Not saying that we're going to win a Super Bowl. Not saying that things are going to be fine and dandy. But you're right. A couple little things early in the season. You take that. You beat the Jets. You're in the playoffs. People are talking different about this squad. Chase Claypool, I agree with you guys. I agree. I think he's ultimately going to be a bust.
Yeah, it sucks too because he has all the talent in the world, but he has
no heart.
He's a big receiver that plays small.
Yes.
I don't think he knows how good he is. I think that might be the problem. He probably doesn't know how good he can be.
I think it's a character trait.
Absolutely.
He thinks he's too good. He's pride.
His dad was a Tonka truck. Yeah.
He has too much pride for himself.
Right.
I think he's better than everyone.
I do want to slide over to the diamond, but do you guys have anything left to say before we go?
That was a beautiful, beautiful segue.
You like that?
The slide.
We're going to slide head first over to the diamond.
I actually wanted to say my top 5 Steelers, but I could probably say that for another time.
You know what, Derpy? We're going to do something special for you.
Yep.
Have at it. Give me your top 5 Steelers. What is this, all time? Is this something
all time?
All time. There we go, everybody. This is Derpy, the newest
at least
edition.
From what I've seen, because I'm not I'm not an older guy, or
he's not like Mike yet, so we understand. All right, so Derpy is going to tell us. He's going to tell us
from like character traits and loyalty, all that.
Please do.
Well, obviously, everyone knows number 1 is Mean Joe Green.
Okay.
Yeah.
To me, number 2 is probably because of a loyalty aspect. Everyone would probably say Franco, but I'm gonna go with Bettis.
Okay, not a bad. He's actually my number 1.
Then it would probably be 3 would probably be Franco.
Okay.
Ben at 4, and then Palomalu.
You know what?
Not a bad list. I would go, yeah, not a bad list.
You know what? Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. And here's another thing Derpy did want to talk about. He wanted to talk about how he became a Steeler fan. These are some things that we talked about off the air. Derp, we'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna put it in the plans tomorrow. If you do get to opportunity to come back on, we will do that. But for right now, we are 4 minutes till the end of the show. So let me slide head first over into the diamond.
Trivia.
Here we go, and we do got trivia coming up. Mike, and Derp, the Pirates get their first win in the Grapefruit League yesterday by beating the Orioles 7-4. They are 1-2 right now. This afternoon, as soon as not as soon as this is over, but here in about an hour or so, they have the Detroit Tigers, and tomorrow they have the Yankees. So if you're getting Pirate fever yet, everybody, it is here. Hey, and also the scoop that I got, Pirate scoop that I got that I'm interested in is they got word as of yesterday. My favorite Pirate of all time, AJ Burnett. He will be there to throw out the first pitch at the Pittsburgh Pirates home opener this season against the Chicago White Sox on April 17th. Now, not only, Mike, is he throwing out the first pitch, Russell Martin will be there to catch the first pitch.
Russell Martin's going to frame that pitch to make it look like a strike.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I think they're doing. They brought back McCutchen. There's rumors of bringing back Josh Harrison. You have Batman, the return of Batman throwing out the first pitch. Russell Martin, maybe, just maybe they're trying to put that team back together again, put the band back together and get back to the playoffs. But no, everybody, that is really cool. I think, in my opinion, Batman.
I like it. I saw that. I was pumped.
Jason Bay was my guy. I like Jason Bay.
Jason Bay, man, you're old enough to remember Jason Bay.
Jason Bay always reminded me of Timothy McVeigh.
Jesus!
By physical appearance, he always made me think of that guy.
Okay. I was going to say about this Pirate Baltimore game. Yeah, the Pirates were the home team, and they were up going into the bottom half of the inning, and the ump and the rest of the refs, they're like, "We're out, game over."
The players had kept playing their own balls and strikes like you had to do back in Sandlot baseball, Mike. The catcher.
Well, you know what? These two teams are going to be out of competitive baseball by May, so they might as well get in as much ball playing as they can.
But that is very interesting. The catcher did get to call balls and strikes, something that would obviously never be a thing in games that mean anything. But I thought that was really cool because, like I said, who didn't do this as kids playing in the backyard?
Yeah. This is like the best part of spring training.
Yes.
Is the silly little things that happen.
All right. So, guys, we're down to the 2-minute warning. Here we go. Trivia of the day. We are going to stick with the Combine trivia because this is Combine week.
I want more question though.
Yes.
What if we have a special for that, for the Combine, like the 2 days, like for this, like live stream, like a big live stream covering the.
Oh, not with my work schedule.
The only thing that makes that difficult is Mike's work schedule, but we'll talk more about maybe something similar to that shortly.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
All right. No, you're fine. I like the ideas. All right, here we go. We talked about the very first Combine being in 1982 in Tampa Bay. And then we talked about it going to Indianapolis in 87, which is where it is now. It spent 1 year, Mike, 1 year, though, in Arizona. Can you tell me what year the Combine was in Arizona?
92.
Derp and P also over on the board.
P does have his honorable mention of like the Steelers for is
2011.
Okay, so at 2011, Mike, you said
92.
It wouldn't be in the 90s.
92. Okay. We'll wait a minute to see if P sends over
No. P's too busy making fun of Les Claypool.
You know what? I'm seeing this.
Of all
I'm
time.
seeing this. What's
We're
going
gonna
on?
have words. Primus is the shit.
So the very
first words about Aaron Rodgers tomorrow, fellas.
I may be on the sauce.
The very first combine was in 82 in Tampa Bay. Then in 87, it switched to Indianapolis, where it's at now. But 1 year, just 1 year, it was in Arizona. And we're trying to figure out what year that was. Mike says 1992.
Why not?
Derp says 2011. Is that what he said?
Yeah, somewhere in that range, yeah.
Okay. I'll just give P one more moment here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward. The answer, guys, the 1 year that the NFL Combine was held in Arizona was 1985. 1985. It was in Tampa to start.
Just a bit off. Just a bit off. Not
Indianapolis to where it's at now.
Only off by a decade.
In 87, but that
Maybe
1
2.
year it was in Arizona, guys, was 1985. There you have it. Mike, why don't you tell everybody about the website?
Who? Dumbyinsers.com. Head on over there. And my God, we have everything you need for the Two Dumb Yinzers. Links to YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, links to Facebook, Twitter's, Instas, email address, merchandise store, everything at twodumbyinsers.com.
www.twodumbyinsers.com. Check it out. We are live every day, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Every show we do that particular day gets uploaded that particular evening at 8 o'clock over on Spotify. So if you want to listen to this show on the way to work, in the gym, whatever it may be, check us out this evening on Spotify podcast form only. That goes over at 8 o'clock. Big game tonight. Big game, everybody. Don't forget to tune in. We have Pitt at Notre Dame. Pitt wins. They will win the ACC. Whether it's to be shared or not, that's to be determined Saturday. But big game, everybody. Pittsburgh Pirates come up in about a half hour. Mike, do you have anything before we take off, man?
I do.
Don't day drink after you worked all morning. This is what you look like.
Okay, Dirk.
Always appreciate little things in life. Because
like
it could be worse. You could be a Browns fan.
That is the best point ever made on this show. Derpy, for Ryan, Mike, the Two Dumb Yinzers, have a great day. We'll